Hi, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be covering 5 tips of how to easily collect fantastic data about the brilliant impact you're having in your community interest company projects. So for those of you who've got project grants from the National Lottery, Arts Council, Children in Need, here is 5 tips how to easily collect your data which you'll need for your evaluation at the end of your project. So before I get into that, please hit the subscribe button for everything to do with community interest companies. I've also got a new membership on this YouTube channel which you can hit, which gives you extra videos about how to apply for grant funding. It gets a lot more in depth and shows you and demonstrates how to get different grant funding projects, how to get different grant funding pots, and lots of other great information. Also, if you're interested in one of my CIC setup packages or my main membership, which I have over on my website, which mentors people, then please go over to my website, link is in the description. So that aside, let's get into it. So here's my 5 tips. So you're going to be running a grant funding project. You're probably going to be funded by, as I said, National Lottery, Arts Council, and all the others. Now, all of these grant funders will ask you for evaluation evidence at the end of your project. So it's really important that you collect that through the project. Don't just go into a tailspin panic at the end when you're asked. It makes it a lot easier and simpler if you just gather it as you go. Now, here are some great tips for you to just get into easy to use habits for when you're doing your workshops and all of the rest of it. So number 1 is a social observation diary. So a social observation diary, so say you are running your workshops, running your programs, you literally keep a diary where you note down any impacts or benefits or changes that you notice in your participants. So let me give you an example. So I ran a youth workshop, it was a street art workshop. And at the beginning of that workshop, a young man came in and he was autistic and he wasn't talking, and to talk to me or ask me a question, he whispered to his mum to relay the question to me. So he wouldn't talk directly to me. That was at the beginning of the session. By the end of the spray painting session, he was talking directly to me. His tone of his voice had come up in volume and he was able to directly talk to me. So I wrote that down in a social observation diary. Now that was a great example of how my session had improved this young person's communication and confidence in dealing with adults and other people, staff. So that is one example of a social observation. So think about in your sessions, what kind of changes are you observing all of the time? Has a young person said to you that they really love the session? If so, write it down. Don't ask them to go and write that down on a feedback form. You could just write it down in your social observation diary. So keep a diary as you go. It's also great in a diary, always use initials rather than people's full names so it's anonymous. But it's also great for you to actually record some case studies. So as you go, you may notice that one person particularly has made significant progress. So that could form a case study. So always use the initials, but start writing those down. Children in Need are absolutely really big on getting those case studies. So it's a really good habit to get into to do a social observation diary. Number 2 is your bog standard feedback form. So at the end of a session, you could do feedback forms. Great with adults, not so great with young people. You may want to, with young people, just have something much shorter, or you may want to do it in a different way. I mean, if it's just a quick tick box, don't ask too many questions. Leave some boxes so that they can actually write some suggestions of what they would like. So that is your bog standard feedback forms. They can be anonymous. It's actually better if they are. Again, they could just write their initial on it and that's it. Number 3, you could just do a really easy satisfaction rating on the way out. So a satisfaction rating, really simple. You could basically just have, like at the airport where they have all the smiley faces. For young people, that's quite a good one to do. They could just pick a face as they go out. And then that would give you a statistic where hopefully everyone chose a smiley face, and that's your statistic for the way out. Number 4, you could film your feedback. So film or photograph feedback, and evidence. So say you're running a session, you could take a photo, maybe not of someone's face because they might want to be anonymous, but it may be, of somebody drawing a picture, for instance. So say you take a photo of their hands and the artwork they've created, and then get a quote from them. You could do that with an audio with your phone, get them to just record a quote if you don't want to do a video, Or you could just again write it down what they say, and then you could put that later on, say in Canva or something like that, where you've got the photo image and then you've just got their quote, and then you've got a nice little template. You can pop that on your Instagrams and your social medias. You can also give it to grant funders. Makes a really nice little visual presentation of someone's feedback. And likewise, you could do that in a video form where you actually interview them. Young people, well, even adults sometimes don't really like being videoed. You could take like filler footage, as I call it, where it's just like people doing stuff, again, not with their faces in it, and then lay the audio over the top. So those are great ways of getting feedback and capturing that and bringing that feedback to life, so it's not just written. And then number 5, there's the Wheel of Life. So the Wheel of Life is a great exercise to do. And I'm going to be doing a different video on that on this channel. And we've just done an expert video actually over in the membership where Coach Carla came in and gave us a demonstration of the Wheel of Life. But in short, you can Google it. The Wheel of Life is essentially a tool where a person will come into the beginning of the session. They'll say how happy they are in different segments of their life, like family, employment, health, all those things. They'll say how happy they are. And then at the end of your program, they do another one. And then they would say again, and hopefully some of those things will have improved. You have then got fantastic data to use as evidence, because you can compare and say at the end of the project, 80% of participants said that they improved on 3 of the spokes on the Wheel of Life. So that's an example of how you could collect some more in-depth data about it. Also identifies what people's problems are, so you can better tailor the session, and then you can evaluate it by comparing the 2 wheels at the end. So I hope that was useful. So that was my 5 tips of how to do easy evaluations in your project as you go. And as I said, this is all vital, and keep this stuff on file. Chuck it all in a OneDrive, all your evidence in a OneDrive, share it with your directors, and leave it in there for 7 years in case any grant funders come back and audit. They can come back for up to 7 years. I have had the lottery do that to me personally, so be warned, they do. So if you've got all that, make sure it's shared on social media again, so it kind of lives forever, proof of it online, but also keep it as well on a hard drive. I hope you liked that video. If so, please hit the subscribe button.